You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. I know it's Saturday morning, because we're just going to do that for today while I get some other stuff squared away. Might do it again tomorrow. Weekends, I'm kind of, whatever. The numbers tend to dip quite a bit, so I don't like to put, if I got something that in my opinion, is good content, I don't want to bury it on Sunday. I want to save it for Monday, you know what I mean? Then again, I don't know how much good content there is right now, but we'll find it. We'll find the good content. Just make fun of the NFC North for 5 weeks. But for today, and like I said, probably tomorrow, we're going to do some Packernet After Dark, so get your calls in. I don't see any new callers. New callers go directly to the front of the line. I didn't say that for some reason. But let's get started with Nate from California.
Hey, what's up, Brian? It's Nate from California.
What's up?
Dreaming about moving back to Wisconsin.
Attaboy.
All the time. I want to talk about Rodgers a little bit, going to the Steelers, but also just in general, his career and stuff, and how it relates to Love. Giants fan, buddy of mine who's a Giants fan, was talking about Mahomes today, and I was just like, dude, if you watched all the games that we watched as Packers fans, Mahomes, he's great. He had great seasons. To me, eye test, nothing compared to Rodgers. He's got Tyreek Hill, all these weapons. He did a great job. He's a great quarterback too, but to me, Rodgers is just the best I've ever seen, and I don't think it's particularly close between him and anybody else. I'm talking about his best seasons only. Obviously, not every season was his best season, but it was the best I've ever seen. And I think if you just turn on the tape, it should be obvious to everyone, but it seems like people who are non-Packers fans, they don't see it that way because they didn't see him every week, every down, like we did as Packers fans. So I get it. But I know there's some skepticism about Jordan Love and whether or not he can be, the dude, and whether or not we're going to get stuck in mediocrity, which I would hate to. But at the end of 2023, when he was on that run, to me, just, eye test, emotional test, whatever. I'm not looking at numbers. I'm just going based on watching the games. To me, he played as well as Rodgers had ever played in any season. And, I don't know if the numbers bear that out or whatever, but
they kind of do. I mean, I know I looked at it at the end of 2023, and, we're talking relatively small sample. Well, not really, but we're not talking multiple seasons here, but still, I think it was, there were 2 seasons I think Rodgers had that would have been better than what Jordan did at the end of 2023, just to put it in, and that's clearly not a shot at Rodgers. That just goes to show how good Jordan really was when he was on fire in that stretch.
At the second half of that season, he was on fire.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to say better than Rodgers has ever been, but as good as Rodgers had ever been, I think.
Yes, that's correct.
So to me, it's like, that gives me a lot of hope. I don't think that mediocre quarterbacks who get stuck in mediocrity ever have stretches of games like that. I don't think you'll ever see a Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, any of these guys who are actual mediocre quarterbacks. I'll never see them have a stretch like that. So that gives me a ton of hope going into this season, and hopeful that he can put it all together. So, yeah, that's it. Just a lot of hope for Jordan Love, and I think he's going to tear it up this season. Take it easy. Bye.
No, I think that's exactly right, and that's what we're all hoping for, some more optimistic than others. ranging from he 1,000% is to never mind he's a bust or he never was good. And who knows how negative the negative can be. I don't know if there's any limits to it, but there's no doubt. And this is why I've said 1,000 times, there's nothing more important than Jordan, not just because he's a quarterback, but the range of like bad Jordan to elite Jordan is about as wide of a gap as you'll see in the NFL. But we are 1,000% on track to be Super Bowl contenders this year if we get 2023 Rodgers. And guess what? What we did at corner and who we drafted and all these little piddly bullcrap arguments that we get into. If Jordan is 2023 Jordan, none of that matters anymore. None of it. Some things help a little bit more than others. Matthew Golden probably being the biggest one of those. Because if Matthew Golden's a stud and we get 2023 Jordan, I promise you, whether or not we drafted Trey Amos or not is not going to be a major prominent thought in our minds come, August, September, October, November, December, January.
What's going on, Joe Modified Fighter? How y'all doing? So, this is the day after my call. Calm down. Sorry I dropped the news about my mom passing. About that. It just added stress to my week. But anyway, thank you for any concerns. If you have any, I appreciate it. But with that news, I do want two things to happen. That is, one, we lock up Zach Tom, go ahead and pay him early, and Elgton. The reason being is, for them to cut Jaire, that's negative for the locker room. Also negative for us, but negative for the locker room. That, because the guy was hurt, he just cut him. Imagine what Christian Watson is feeling right now. I'm just saying. Just imagine what Christian Watson is feeling. He's an all-pro, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and they let him go. So how do you think he feels?
Yep.
That's adding stress to the team. So if you
and to be fair, there's no way. I know I've said that before. I mean, look, the Jaire thing and the Zach Tom thing are very different things. Zach Tom he's that dude. He is, he's Rashawn Gary, he's Kenny Clark, he's Clay Matthews, he's David Bakhtiari. I'm talking like first big contract. He's Brian Bulaga. It's not even Elgton Jenkins. And even Elgton Jenkins, I'm saying that dude's not going anywhere. But the difference between Elgton not going anywhere and Zach Tom not going anywhere is very different. Elgton not going anywhere is, as far as a percentage, I don't know, like 90%, 95% he's not going anywhere because obviously sometimes crazy stuff can happen and it could get ugly for some stupid reason. Zach Tom is they're just going to throw money at him. This is like the Elgton Jenkins thing isn't really simple. Zach Tom is simple. Now, that could be complicated by somebody doing something stupid, either the Packers or Zach Tom's group, but that's going to get done. And I think, to your point, for that reason, because we've had a lot of bad blood for a while with Jaire, and the Elgton thing is kind of ugly, and there's been a bunch of stuff before that. There is something good about the Packers, who are known for saying, okay, it's run its course, it's time to go, and being strict about that, and I think in a good way. But there's also another side of the Packers, which is we have a lot of homegrown talent. We draft, we develop, and then we pay you. And you're right, Zach Tom needs to be that example, because I know it looks bad with all this other stuff, but trust me, you show up and you be the guy that we drafted you to be, and we will pay you for being that guy. Now, Christian's always going to be a little bit iffy because of the Jaire situation. A little bit reflects his, being the, how much risk are we willing to take with him. But generally speaking, this is one you can't mess up. You mess this one up and it's all bets are off. There's suddenly nobody's safe, which is why I'm saying there's no way.
pay Zach Tom and Elgton, especially Elgton, like this man did everything, played at a good level at three positions, and now y'all telling him to change position.
Yeah, that one might be a better example, I think, of what you're saying, just because number one, it is kind of like, yeah, he's done a lot in terms of his sacrifice for the team, and even the injuries kind of are, not that it's a good thing, but to his credit, he's battled through a lot more adversity and whatnot. But also there is an opportunity to walk away. Whereas Zach Tom, I mean, it's as black and white as it gets. Elgton, there's maybe some opportunity there to kind of play hardball or to be like, I'm not going to just pay the man, do the right thing, be fair by him. The Packers might be saying, yeah, we'll try to do right by you, but at the same time, I mean, you are a center. Don't play that game. If he's saying, look, you already screwed me out of tackle money by moving me to guard 5 seconds before my big contract, you are not about to do that again by moving me to center and then extending me next year or whatever at center rates. So however long you want me here and you want me playing center, that's how long I want guarantees, or roughly how long I want guarantees at top rate guard money. And I'll be honest, I think that's fair. I do think it's fair. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think that's one of those things where, again, I don't know how the structure of that looks. It's really weird. You got to factor in his age and his injury history and the fact that we've never even seen him. Well, not ever, but not really. Like, we think he's a really good center, but we don't know. We haven't really seen it yet. And Elton's like, yeah, well, that's the problem. If I have a bad year, I don't need you going, well, it looks like you're not getting any money. And the bottom line is, Packers, you guys want to take the risk, and you want me to cover up for all this stuff. Like, you want to get rid of the center so that you can bring in a new guy to take my spot, and I'm this big pivot point. Fine. Then pay me like that. Well, we don't know. Well, you're acting like you know. I understand that, that there are limits, and there's, you got to kind of think through some stuff or whatever, but to your point, this is a great opportunity to send a message to the team that we respect Elgton for what he's done, and we want to pay him fairly. Right? I'll never forget, as an example, when the Minnesota Vikings paid Adam Thielen way early. It wasn't even really. They just gave him a pay raise. They looked at his contract and said, "You're worth more than this," and just gave him a pay raise. Did not have to do that at all. Just did it, and he was old already. Now, maybe that's stupid. I don't know, but that's the kind of stuff that a team does. That, for a team that is so desperately concerned about the locker room and all that kind of stuff, how you handle these contract things and whatnot has some kind of an effect on that. You have to still do the right things. If a guy needs to be cut, you cut him. If he shouldn't get paid, then don't pay, whatever. But I think there are little opportunities along the way to demonstrate that you're going to take care of your guys. And if that means a little bit of extra, a little bit of give, a little bit of leeway here and there for certain individuals in certain circumstances, I think Elgton is one of those. If you don't want to give to Jaire, I get that, right? I get it. We don't want to take that gamble anymore. Elgton, if he wants a little extra something, if he wants guard money instead of center money, freaking whatever. The guy's going to play for 2-3 years, and then we're going to have to find his replacement anyways. He's getting old, and he's already banged up all the time. Just give him a couple extra $1 million, and let's freaking move on here.
And every time you make a position change, that position makes less money. So I think a lot of times fans, they kind of just see it from the Packers' point of view. I try to see it from both. But, this man he's a good player. So it's just he was good guard, we moved him to tackle. He was a good tackle. And then he's like, hey, I'm playing tackle, I'm playing good. Tackle is the highest paid position on the offensive line. I can get paid a lot.
And just to the one point on, where some people only see it from the team side, I tend to only look at it from the team side for one reason. Because the team is trying to do what's best for the team, and the player is trying to do what's best for the player. As a fan, my interest is what's best for the team. Now, hopefully it's the same thing like with Zach Tom. Zach Tom's like, hey, I want massive right tackle money. And Packers are like, hey, we want to give you massive right tackle. And it intersects perfectly. And so it's win-win. But generally speaking, my interest is what's best for the Packers. And so I'm kind of looking at it from a GM standpoint, which is still like with the Elgton thing. I think from a GM standpoint, it kind of makes sense because it might be best. Not everything is just financial. As the Packers well know, they preach locker room and culture more than anybody else. But still, I don't necessarily care what the player's perspective is on their contract because they always want all the money. I get that. That's fine. You go get that. But I want to know, what's the right amount? I know you want the highest amount. That's cool. What's the right amount?
Money doing this. And they're like, no, let's move you back to guard. He's like, okay, all right, that's fine. Then they're like, hey, we paid this other guard that's not as good as you a whole bunch of money, and we're going to move you to center. He's like, hold on. Like, it's just trying to be understandable for both sides.
Yeah.
For all I would say with that. And he deserves it. So I think that will put some positive vibes
I agree.
into the team locker room because.
And again, they need it. There's been a lot of just negative nonsense 24/7. There's a whole lot of people leaving and people not playing and all this stuff. And let's get it going the other direction. Let's get some positive. Even like with the wide receivers, like, oh, are they all mad because of Golden? And Let's start the train in the other direction. Get Elgton back in the building. Get him a bunch of money. Get Zach Tom paid. Get him ready to rock and roll. Get the boys out there going. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's killing it. Ready to go, right? Those two things. And that's why I do think Elgton, I don't think Zach Tom will be. I think Elgton will be done before training camp. I know that's a goal because, of course, they want him in the building. If they don't get him in the building, that's when it's starting to be, I'm not going to say panic time, but it's a little bit of like, all right, because I'm positive this was a goal, and I know they worked really hard to get it done here. If they couldn't get it done, something's wrong. You know what I mean? Either Russ Ball is not the magician he used to be or thinks he is, or maybe the NFL is kind of drifting away from the way the Packers structure contracts, and so things are getting more difficult. I don't know what the problem is, but something's wrong because that needs to be done. But I think before training camp, Elgton will be done. I think Zach Tom probably like post preseason, not because anything's wrong. That's just kind of how they do things. They're going to try to sneak in those big, I don't know why, but they always kind of like sneak in those big contracts right when everybody's focused on all the I don't know, other stuff. Or maybe that's why they do it, because there's kind of that little window there where there's nothing going on so that it could be big news. I don't know. But I also think that's probably why Zach Tom is showing up, whereas Elgton isn't. Elgton feels the need to apply a little pressure, and Zach Tom doesn't, because the dude's getting paid, and I think everybody knows that. And the negotiations are probably going well enough between the team and the agent, where the agent's like, yeah, don't get hurt or anything, but yeah, we're going to get it done, dude. You're going to be freaking rich in a very short period. Go ahead and buy your mom a house and get yourself a car. We're good, bro.
Hey, right now, it's kind of like, try to give your all. Are they going to reward you? I know we tend to do that. We tend to take care of our players, but I don't want them to lose weight, and I don't think they'll lose their weight. But
just don't worry about it.
I want everybody excited for mini camp and training camp. I want everybody to be high, not worried about money situation. So anyway, hope y'all agree. Go Pack, go.
I agree. All right, let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Ryan, TJ from Alabama.
Yo.
Listening to your pod, talking about contracts and things like that, and just popped into my head as far as, the whole argument of, NFL players don't get guaranteed contracts, fully guaranteed like baseball and basketball and yada, yada, yada. And I definitely, from a fan's perspective, don't want fully guaranteed contracts, because not all of them would turn out to be Deshaun Watson guaranteed contracts, but still I think it would make the product not as good. So
right.
I would prefer it to stay more like it is than go to fully guaranteed contracts. With that said, even if they do...
And honestly, well, maybe this is what you're about to say. I mean, there's only so much money, right? So essentially, if contracts went to fully guaranteed, what that would mean is that the prices would have to come down, meaning guys are going to start getting less money. I mean, these are static variables we're dealing with here. If a $20 million contract is actually, on the books expected to be about 13, well, if 13 became a solid 20, I now have less money. You cannot keep all the same things the same and give out fully guaranteed contracts. There's not enough money.
Go to fully guaranteed contracts, everybody would adapt, because inherently contracts are fair to both the player and the team. They have to be fair because both of them signed them and agreed to it up front. And everybody knows. The player knows, the agent knows, the team knows, the media knows, everybody knows that when you have a $2 million the first year, $4 million the second year, $3 million the third year, and then the fourth year, I got $172 billion in that fourth year,
yeah.
that's not going to happen.
Right.
So there's no shady stuff. There's no nothing. Everybody signs their contract fully understanding
Right.
what they're signing, or
Right.
they're idiots and then, whatever. But
And that's the thing. It's like people act like when I say you're getting, $250 million in this contract, and then you end the contract and I didn't end up with 230 in my bank account, that you somehow screwed me. No, that's not the reality. The reality is when the agent comes out and says, hey, my client got 230 million, he's lying. And you believe the lie. Everybody knows exactly what you're saying, TJ. Everybody knows. I'm not talking about necessarily as far as the fans, but the player, the agent, maybe not the player, the agent, the team, they all know. They know what the real money is. That's why there's LTBE. It's a real term, and it's why these contracts take some serious finagling to figure out. Likely to be earned. That's why guarantees matter so much. Why even bother mentioning the guarantees? Because that's the real money. There's the guarantees, which are real. There's likely to be earned, which is, a scale. My base salary this year, probably going to earn that. I don't think they're going to cut me this year. They just gave me a contract, right? Based on the cap hit. Probably not going to cut me next year. So all that's wrapped up into that with my bonuses and my salary, that's all likely to be earned. Once you get to a certain point, it kind of gets into a gray area where it's unlikely that they would end it at this point, but if there's some serious injury or whatever, maybe at that point they don't have it, whatever. Maybe they would bite the bullet. But yeah, everybody understands that when they say $250 million contract, it's really a $150 million contract with like $20 million that you're probably going to get on top of that. And the rest is you better be in good shape and still playing at a high level to be able to get the rest of this money and possibly another contract.
so they're inherently fair. And really the only unfair contract, if I was a player, the ones that I would think are inherently unfair is the restricted free agent ones. You could ball out.
Sure.
And because you're within your first 2-3 years and where yada yada, where the team can sign you for $1 million, no questions asked, and you have no ability to sign with anybody else, the restricted free agent is inherently unfair to me. But after that, contracts are contracts. Everybody understands what they're signing. They're completely fair. Get over it. Whatever. And then the last part, as far as Jaire, I'm sorry to see Jaire go. I mean, not devastated, but sorry. I would prefer him to be on our team.
Yeah.
I think our team is better with him, even with the injuries and all this other kind of stuff. But I fully understand it, so I don't really have any major issue with it. Now, I hate the fact that it sort of just seems the way it goes that Jaire is going to sign with some NFC North team and he's going to play 17 games because that's just how things roll.
Of course.
However, even if that worst-case scenario happens, that does not mean Jaire would have played 17 games for us.
Right.
He most likely wouldn't because he most likely would have sat out some games and all those things with his current nonsense, blah, blah, blah. So, good luck, Jaire. Hope you don't sign with an NFC North team. That's it. Thanks.
Yeah, and just good timing, by the way. Just to put it on record, as I've said 1,000 times, let's say he does go somewhere else and play 17 games. Immediately there's going to be, oh, nice job, Goody, right? Those are going to be the takes. Again, the hindsight doesn't matter. Whether he plays 2 games or 17 games, you determine whether it's a good decision now, not after the fact. It's process, not results, because the results are a fluke. Again, if you have 20 in blackjack and you hit and get an ace, that doesn't mean that that was a good decision. It was a stupid decision. And you got very lucky. Congratulations. The question isn't, at this stage, when you have 20, I wonder what the next card is going to be, and then I'll decide whether it's a good decision or not. The question is, right now, should you hit or should you stay? Everyone knows you stay. Period. And if it's an ace, you don't come back and say, oh, that was a stupid decision. Nope, it was the right decision. Because if you're just chasing everybody else's results, you're going to end up in a bad spot. You follow the right process, you're going to hit and miss like everybody else, but the point is to hit more often than you miss. Find the right process and follow it. Period. We're not just winging it out here. Teams that wing it are teams that go 4 wins every year. Those are owners who are throwing money at stuff, flying by the seat of their pants. They don't have a process. They hire people who have processes and then choose not to listen to them and get in the way and say, I'm going to do this thing. Even though it has no process to it, it's just, I want it, I'm going to go get it. That's why they fail over and over and over again. And it's why fans who think we need an owner who can just throw money at a problem and go get some big name and slap them on our team, like let's go get Rodgers, and then let's go get Devontae, and then it'll be the greatest thing in the world, except we still suck. Because that was stupid.
She's been here.
Yo.
Bo Melton at corner? What, are we just stupid and desperate now? Joe Harry's gone. We just need to do anything. We do anything because we didn't plan for this, even though we probably knew he wasn't coming back because we wanted the full contract. Jaire did.
You just nailed it, but missed it at the same time. They knew it was happening. They're not desperate. That's the whole story.
Oh my gosh! I mean, come on, man. Maybe it'll work out. Okay, maybe it'll work out, but I highly doubt.
It's not a serious thing with Bo Melton at corner. That's the thing. I mean, again, the whole idea here is Jaire's gone. It's panic time. We don't have corners now. What do? Packers panic. For some reason, they don't realize there's other options like trading for people or going out in free agency, and so they move Bo to corner because they're so stupid, and they genuinely believe that he's going to be our CB1 again because they're so stupid. Do you notice how the story doesn't make any sense? And usually when people do that, they're like, that's because they're so stupid. Stop thinking they're so stupid. When you say a story like that out loud, it's probably stupid because it's stupid and because it's not the real story. Bo Melton is not going to make it at wide receiver. So they're like, let's try something. Let's just see what happens. What can it hurt? Because more than likely, Bo Melton right now is wide receiver 9. Wide receiver 9 is not going to make the cut. So if he can be wide receiver / corner / special teamer, then maybe we'll end up keeping him. If not, he's going to end up getting cut. This is not, can he be CB1? It's just not. And for all the reasons you're listing as to why it's stupid, it's exactly why you shouldn't think that what you're saying is what's happening.
The only reason I think really that this is happening, in all seriousness, Bo Melton realizes he's probably not going to make it in this wide receiver room.
There it is.
So he's given his chance at corner, and I believe from what I've heard, he played corner before, but not at the pro level.
Somebody said high school. I don't know. That was one of those like smart aleck remarks. Is like, actually, he played it in high school. Like, okay. Like, I don't think this is going to work out. Well, really? Because he played in high school. That doesn't help your argument even a little bit, but okay.
I don't know, dude. And now I hear Keelan King is in a cast. That's freaking great.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
We haven't done anything.
No comment.
And, I saw a tweet from Cheesehead TV. And apparently, Savion Williams is a freaking quarterback. I guess sounds like maybe he was getting reps at quarterback. Or,
I think he's just wearing the red jersey. I don't think he's taking any snaps at quarterback. I still don't understand why they're doing that. It seems to be something injury related, but a lot of people are injured. They don't wear the red thing. Maybe it's because of a specific injury he has. They want to make sure there's no contact with him. They just thought, let's just throw him in the red jersey so everybody knows not to hit him. I've never in my life heard of, seen anything like that. To my knowledge, nobody's even asked the question. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. I don't know, but I to my knowledge, it has nothing. He has not taken a single snap under center. He has not thrown a single pass. None of that. And even if that was the case, he wouldn't need to wear it every day. Like if he was tried it one time, fine. But if we're not going to screw with it, and again, we've listened to 5 different practices now. In 5 practices, I have not heard one time of him throwing a ball. So he probably didn't need to wear it that day. You know what I mean? So I don't think it has anything to do with that.
A little flea flicker bullshit. You know what I'm saying? A little trick plays. Hey, I'm all for it if it works. I don't want to be like the Lions who do it on 4th down stupidly every time.
Yeah, you mean the Bears head coach? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, man. We need the season to start, man. I just want to see all this crap unfolds. Oh, dude, it's just so, like, exciting, but also nerve-wracking. We'll see what happens, my boys and girls.
Yeah, they might try some stuff. I know Savion Williams made a joke about he had the best arm on his team. I wouldn't be surprised if they try that at some point, but at this stage, if we've given up on him at a wide receiver and made him a quarterback, again, it's the whole thing where if it sounds stupid, it's probably because it is. Something has gone terribly wrong, and that's very obviously not the case. So I don't know what the situation is other than to say he's wearing the non-contact thing for reasons of injury. And why I've never seen that for any other player, I don't know. But I guess it doesn't matter. That's where I'm at with that situation and how I think things are happening. All right, let's take our final break. We'll come back. We got Drew from Green Bay.
Hey, Ryan, it's Drew from Green Bay.
Yo.
In regards to having more cap space and people wanting to go get some big-name guy, I don't think that'll happen this year. There is Kyle Fuller's available if we needed someone mid-season where, he's been on his ACL injury and then...
Well, and that's another good point. I mean, everybody's panicked now. If something was going to happen, it's going to be a little while. Even if it's before the season, they're going to want to get to training camp, see how it goes, see if any injuries materialize, see if anybody steps up or doesn't step up. Once they have that information, they'll decide whether the best 53 is on their roster or if maybe there's one person we could add that would improve the 53. They're not going to panic right now. As much as fans, we don't have corners. Bro, we have the same corners we had last year with a top 10, borderline top 5 defense. All right? So, no, they're not panicked. I'm so sorry they're not panicked, but they're not panicked. But, yeah, there might be some moves later, but that's only if we get into camp and it's like, bro, these corners suck and so-and-so got hurt, and then we can start talking about it. At this point, forget it. It's not happening. They like their corners. They're good at corner. Give it up. Give it up. Let it go.
Maybe by then he'll be healthy. And, I think he could potentially fill in well. But, anyways, one thing is, the time to bring in a guy like Trey Hendrickson or some of these big-name pass rushers, which we do have a history of bringing in free agent pass rushers, is we just wait till next year. Like you said, right now we'd have to trade for them, but some of these guys have had a lot of issues with their teams, so they might legitimately move on.
Sure.
And they're all set to be free agents, like Trey Hendrickson, T.J. Watt, Joey Bosa, maybe one or two of them become...
Presumably, if they stay, they're getting new contracts, but if it gets ugly enough, they may just say, screw it, and not sign and ride it out and see what happens. And then you'll get a shot next year. I think that would be the fear, though, is if we don't strike, they'll end up signing. Although it doesn't really matter, because you can't really strike because it's up to the team, right? If they want to sign him, they're not going to be like, oh, shoot, I guess we have to trade him. They're going to try until they're not going to try anymore. So, yeah, I guess if they're not trading him, just hope he doesn't sign and then hope you can get him next year.
Available and you can go after him, but I think the time to do that would be next year, not this year. So,
makes sense.
Anyways, that's something to think about. Just because we have the money doesn't mean we have to use that right now. So have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, and it's just, everybody's, and maybe it's because it's the offseason, everyone's bored, and like I said, Packer fans believe the offseason is 95% of the success of your season, which maybe is why so many Packer fans get mad at me when I trash the Bears. Like, no, you don't understand. They actually made a lot of good moves. They're going to be really good this year. You better watch out. Because they believe that stuff. They're like Bears fans in that way. They think the offseason is the only thing that matters, more so than the regular season even. But I think we got to recognize that the offseason's over. What happened, happened. We're going to get in. Next is training camp. Not trade season. Not draft number 2. Not free agency frenzy. That happened a long time ago. That period has passed. I'm sorry it didn't go the way you wanted, but it is past. Crazy stuff can happen, but we got to shift out of this mode. It's like, oh, training camp's coming up. Like, trade! First day of training camp. Trade! Where's Trey Hendrickson? Bro, shut up. Can you ever shut up? Jeez, so freaking obnoxious. Trade. Go get somebody crazy. Go trade. Yeah, go trade for Pat Mahomes. Go get all the best players. Go trade. Stop it. This is your team. If you don't want to root for them, don't root for them. This is it. This is what you get. It's training camp. There's a lot of fun stuff we can do for training camp. A lot of good information. A lot of great stuff happening. Jordan Love's looking good. Do you care? Oh, Trey Hendrickson. Jordan Love threw a touchdown to Matthew Golden. Anybody happy? Where's Trey Hendrickson? Oh, my Lord. Do something, Goody. Bro, he's watching training camp right now, okay? That's what he's focused on. Should be upstairs working the phones, man. It's just one note over and over again from the freaking casuals from the back freaking row. Over and over and over. Trade. Go get somebody. Go do something. Do something cool, Goody. You're a failure, Goody. Go do something. Why don't you do anything? Go do something. I swear they all think this is Madden. Every year you just redo your whole roster. I'm going to cut these 70 people and bring in 70 new people. I'm going to offer you like a third for like the top player in the league, and you're going to accept it because it's a freaking video game. This is fantasy football. I'm going to package 4 piles of crap, and you give me your top running back. And the little calculator off to the side says, good trade, because it's an idiot. Please just stop it.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama.
What's up?
Just for giving a call today to kind of chime in on the Jaire situation. It's kind of unfortunate that they got released and they couldn't come to terms or on an agreement on some type of restructured deal or renegotiated contract or whatever the case was. But I kind of now, knowing that he got released, I'm kind of trying to really fully understand, what was the draft process, like what was the motive behind it, being that we went cornerback in the 7th round and didn't address that early when they clearly had guys that they could have grabbed. One name that sticks out to me that I wanted, and I know a lot more fans wanted, was Trey Amos. He was sitting right there in the 2nd round, but of course we got Melton in the 2nd round. I mean, after I saw the draft, I was like, well, maybe they was gonna work something out with him, and then got the reports coming out that they were like 95% on the way back, and I'm like, okay, everything making sense. You got Elgton, you got Hobbs, you got Nissen, whoop whoop whoop. Now, to be honest, I'm not really. I don't know about this. I don't know about the cornerback room. The cornerback room, as of right now, being that it's really early, I'm just saying as of right now, in my opinion, it's kind of shaky. I mean, I know Keyshawn has been talking about he wants to be CB1 and he wants to be, he wants to be considered a cornerback. He don't want to just be a kick returner. He want to focus on defense and all, and that's all cool and dandy. But I mean, you want to be cornerback 1, that's cool, but you're gonna have to play like cornerback 1. And I'm not saying that he can't, but I'm just saying for what I've seen so far, he's a solid piece in a rotation, but a cornerback 1, I have not seen that from Keyshawn Nixon. So he's definitely going to have to step up because he's definitely now in a position to be cornerback 1. So, and I mean, I'm just a little shaky about the cornerback room, and it's really not nobody that in free agency I can think of that we can go out and get. I really don't think. I mean, I can't think of nobody. I know Rasul is there, but are they really going to bring back Rasul?
No. All right, so a couple things. I know I've said a bunch of this already, but sometimes the simplest answer is the best or right or however the stupid thing goes. If they thought Amos was better than Belton, they would have drafted Amos over Belton. The team drafts best player available. They don't care about the fact of whether, corner might be a bigger need than offensive line, so we're going to take Amos even though we really like Belton more. It doesn't matter what the draft people said about the group or whatever. It doesn't matter. This is how they felt about it. Number 2, they don't feel the same way about the corner room that a lot of us do. Number 3, I don't think we have a cornerback 1, but I also don't think we've had a wide receiver 1 since Devontae. We haven't had a true number 1 linebacker before Edger and Cooper, going all the way back to, Nick Barnett. You know what I mean? We don't have a true top 32, number 1 premier type of guy. That's true, but that's also life. That's the way it goes. There's a lot of teams that don't have number 1 corners, or number 1 linebackers, or number 1 pass rushers, or defensive tackles, or safeties. It's the way it goes. So, no, I don't think Keyshawn's going to be just suddenly become that dude, but I also think he's a decent number 2. I think Hobbs is also probably a number 2. I think if we had Valentine in there, you could argue it would be very similar to the wide receiver room, where it's just a bunch of number 2s, maybe 3s-ishes. Bullard, unfortunately, I think is 4 or 5-ish, however far down it goes. I don't know, but somewhere near the bottom. But you make up for it. You don't have a number 1 here, but you happen to have some really good safeties. And hopefully we have much better pass rush. And we got Edgerin now, which is a huge step up. It all just works together in concert. It is what it is. And odds are Trey Amos would not have been a premier top 20 corner as a rookie anyways. Maybe, but probably not. We'll have to see how that goes. But that is my full and complete thought on that situation. I think they did know. I think they didn't care. I mean, again, if the chips fall differently, if it was a better corner class, we probably would have walked away with 2 corners. I don't think it was a good corner class. I don't think they liked the corners very much. Like I said, they're old and broken down compared to a lot of other positions where it was a lot stronger. Offensive line going into this was expected to be a stronger class. And they like Belton, and that's the whole story. And, why didn't they, in the 3rd round, they could have got this guy. Well, they liked the guy we got better. That's the reason. That's the whole thing.
All right, to finish my thought, it seemed like that relationship kind of soured after getting traded. I just kind of don't see that happening.
No, it's not going to happen. And he's not good anyways.
I know everybody's been talking about Kevin King. That's fine. I'm rooting for him.
Who's talking about Kevin King? We didn't like him when he was here 50 years ago. He didn't suddenly become good, I promise you that.
His state, I'm like, if he can play like that for us, yeah, we have something here. So
anybody talking about Kevin King should go straight to jail.
Definitely should get an opportunity in camp to move up. I mean, can
Kalen King. I thought you... Because Kevin King's still floating around out there somewhere. I was like, somebody's losing their freaking mind. I'm sorry, Kalen King.
Valentine go back and build off of his rookie season where he was looking like he was going to become like a really good cornerback. Kind of took a step back last year, but, 3rd year usually is the year where most players kind of break out and show you show them what they really about. So hopefully one of those guys can step up. If not, I'm not sure. I know we wasn't terrible at that position, and Jaire was out a lot last year. And I heard the Mark Murphy comments and said they're used to playing without him. I kind of feel like that was a little shot, but whatever. And that's cool and all, but I don't know, man. It just seems real shaky. And I just saw something on Facebook. I don't know. I
Careful
take
with Facebook
with a grain of salt. But
yeah, Facebook's rough.
Confirm this if you've seen it or if you look it up. I'm going to do some more digging and see if I can actually go on like the Packer page or something. But I seen something where they are trying out Bo Melton at cornerback.
That is true.
I don't know. But now from the comments, I seen that he played some DB at Rutgers. So I didn't know that. If that's the case, I know his brother is a cornerback. So, if he does have a defensive background and he played a little bit in college and how deep the wide receiver room is, I mean, I can kind of understand making the switch, but like I said, I don't know how true that is. At first, I was just like, man, what the heck? What the heck is going on? Bo Melton at DB. This is what it came to. But then once I read the comment and they said that he had a background, and I was like, well, that could get him a good roster spot, and he wouldn't have to fight in heavily crowded wide receiver room. But that was just some thoughts, man. Unfortunate Jaire gone, but I kind of understand the position that they was in. They couldn't come to an agreement. There wasn't no way that he can get paid at that number. They just couldn't agree. It is what it is. You just got to go from here, and guys, it's time for y'all to step up. Well, go Pack go, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, and I think the Bo thing, granted, maybe the Jaire thing kind of spurred it along where it's like, let's try it, but I think the Bo thing happening shortly after the Jaire thing really kind of threw everybody off. Because guys switch positions all the time, and it's never a big deal. Usually it's just, like I said, I come along and I'm like, yeah, he's probably about to get cut. That's how that goes. And they play for a little bit, they try it doesn't work, they get cut. But this happening immediately after Jaire, and everybody just assumes that has something to do with, like, being a solution. And obviously that would tick anybody off. If Gutekunst publicly came out and said, guys, Jaire's gone, didn't see that coming, but I got a plan. Bo Melton. Yeah, that wouldn't make me super happy. But I'm pretty sure that's not what's happening. I really don't. And, maybe they mean it when they're, oh, yeah, no, I mean, we think he can actually do it. Yeah, fine. He's an athletic, which, by the way, people keep posting his RAS. Like, that's supposed to mean something to me because you can switch positions. Like, oh, look, he's athletic as a corner, too. He's athletic as every position, bro. He's athletic, period. A lot of people are athletic. That has nothing to do with how good of a football. You think RAS means good football player? Like, what do you think that score means? He's fast and he jumps high. It has nothing to do with how good of a corner he is. I just... I'll be all right. And look, they don't just switch positions just arbitrarily because they don't think it's going to work, but they're just trying to be nice before they cut him. They obviously think it can work, just like they think that with everybody that they switch positions at the last minute. They think that there's at least a chance, and maybe it's a really high chance compared to everybody else with Bo. I'm willing to give him the opportunity. If the Packers haven't given up on him, I won't give up on him. It's not always the standard. Sometimes I give up on people a long time ago before the Packers do, but I'll give him a shot. I don't know. He might be great at it. Who knows? It's not like it's never happened before. All I'm saying is I think this has less to do with, number one, believing Bo can be a premier. This is kind of funny how there's like two people who are two different positions. Number one, the Packers are so stupid for believing that Bo Melton can do this. Number two, you're so stupid for thinking Bo Melton can't. Like, okay. I can't. All right. This is not to replace Jaire, and I don't know that he can't. But I think the move has more to do with the fact that there's not a lot of space left at wide receiver. It's kind of a Hail Mary throw. That's it. It's a Hail Mary to give him an outside, narrow chance to make this team. And we really don't need to dig into it any more than that. I think the other thing that throws people off is the fan base generally, in my opinion, overvalues Bo Melton. I think the idea behind Bo is that he's really, really, really good. And I don't know that he ever was. I think he got a lot of playing time because he was the fast guy on the roster playing on a team whose fast guy is always hurt. He's like the teacher's assistant. If you didn't know better, you'd think he's the professor because the actual professor just sits in the back and frickin' smokes dope and writes books. Right? He ended up being our de facto speed threat. But now we got Golden. And so we have Watson, who's hurt, but we have Watson, and we have Golden, and we have Mecole Hardman if we need him. On top of that, we really like Malik Heath. And so where does that put Bo? It puts him at wide receiver 9, 8 with Watson being out. And they do like Bo, and they'd like to find a reason to keep Bo. And so that's why they're going to do this, because they realize from right now they can tell this dude is not going to make the roster as a wide receiver. And I believe that's the whole story. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate all the callers today. Again, we'll plan on doing more of the same tomorrow. I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.